This is Ed Harris. He's not acting. He is 30 feet underwater, in total darkness, in a flooded, abandoned nuclear reactor. His air supply has just failed. The crewman who was supposed to give him oxygen put the regulator in upside down. He is actually suffocating, and the director keeps filming. This is the story of a film set so disastrous, it was nicknamed The Abyss by the crew because it was hell. It's a story of a director who would also nearly drown and had to punch his own crewmen to survive. A story of a lead actress who had a complete psychotic breakdown, screaming, "We are not animals!" before storming off the set. And it's the story of a crew that was trapped 60 feet underwater while a real lightning storm raged above them, sending electrical jolts through the water. This wasn't a movie. It was a 6-month survival mission. And the stories of what happened in these tanks are more terrifying than the film itself. Chapter 1: The Impossible Idea. In 1987, James Cameron was the king of the world. He had just come off Terminator and Aliens. He could do no wrong. He was an engineer, an inventor, and a director. And he had a new, impossible idea. He wanted to film a sci-fi epic underwater. Now, Hollywood had been faking underwater for decades. It's called dry for wet. You film on a smoky stage, add a blue filter and some fake bubbles, and have the actors move in slow motion. It's cheap, it's safe, and it's easy. James Cameron hated it. He wanted real. He wanted actors in real water, under real pressure, in real danger. He was chasing a new kind of truth. To do this, he needed a tank, not a Hollywood tank. He needed something that had never existed before. So he found the one place on Earth that could hold his vision: an unfinished nuclear power plant in Gaffney, South Carolina. He took the A-tank, the 200-foot wide, 60-foot deep concrete containment vessel for a nuclear reactor, and filled it with 7.5 million gallons of water. It became the largest freshwater film set in history. But this created a new, impossible problem. He was filming The Abyss, set 3,000 feet down. How do you film in pitch-black darkness when you're in an open-air tank in the middle of sunny South Carolina? Cameron's solution was pure, obsessive genius. Chapter 2: Building Hell. To block the sun, they covered the surface of the 7-million-gallon tank with billions of tiny, black, semi-buoyant plastic beads. This plunged the entire set into total pitch-black darkness. It also created a new psychological nightmare. The beads formed a solid-looking, 2-foot-thick ceiling. If a diver got disoriented and swam up for air, they wouldn't find the sky. They'd hit this choking, suffocating mass of black plastic. Safety divers were terrified of losing an actor in the labyrinth of cables below, only to have them surface and suffocate on the beads. The set wasn't just dark, it was dangerous. The crew was now working a 6-month, 24/7 industrial dive operation. They weren't filmmakers anymore. They were deep-sea workers on 60-hour weeks. And the water, it wasn't a swimming pool. It was a chemical bath. To stop 7.5 million gallons of water from turning into a swamp, it was so heavily chlorinated, it burned the actors' skin and bleached their hair white. Then, the set itself began to fight back. A real-life, 5-day-long thunderstorm parked itself over the plant. It ripped a giant hole in the tank's auxiliary tarp, and millions of gallons of unfiltered rainwater poured in, ruining the water's clarity. Worse, the tank was a massive metal structure. A lightning bolt hit the tank's crane, sending a massive electrical jolt through the set. The crew, standing in water, was shocked. Weeks later, the tank itself, the giant nuclear reactor vessel, sprang a leak. It started hemorrhaging 150,000 gallons of water per minute. It was a real-life disaster movie. They had to drain the entire tank in a panic to patch it. The set was actively trying to kill them. And that's before the director started rolling. Chapter 3: The Human Cost. Cameron's obsession with realism went to terrifying places. One of the film's most famous scenes involves a liquid breathing system, where a rat is submerged in oxygenated fluid and breathes it. Audiences were horrified. How did they fake it? They didn't. Cameron filmed a real rat in real perflubron, really breathing the liquid. It was so shocking, the studio forced him to add a line of text, and the scene was cut in the UK to avoid animal cruelty charges. The rat, reportedly, survived. But it was a sign. Cameron would do anything to get the shot. The actors weren't trained divers. They were wearing 90-pound industrial helmets, dragging 300-foot air hoses. Their diving helmets were props, designed for a wide field of view. This meant they were not safe. They had to be fed air by support divers at all times. This brings us back to Ed Harris. He's at the bottom. He runs out of air, just as planned. He signals his safety diver. The diver swims up and hands in his regulator upside down. Harris puts it in his mouth. No air, only water. He's suffocating. He signals again in a panic. The first assistant director, thinking Harris is just acting, grabs him and holds him down. In a pure, animalistic terror, Ed Harris punches the AD in the face, swims for the surface, and rips his helmet off. He gets to the top and has a complete sobbing breakdown. Harris was so psychologically broken by the shoot that he later admitted he would just randomly start weeping while driving home. But the obsession ran so deep, the director became a victim himself. Weeks later, Cameron was at the bottom of the tank, lining up a shot. He was in a 90-pound hard suit. He ran out of air. He signals his AD, the same one, for his emergency regulator. The AD, trying to follow protocol, refuses, thinking Cameron is just overreacted. Cameron, suffocating, realized, he's going to let me drown, right here, at the bottom of my own set. He too had to punch the AD in the face, rip the regulator out of his mouth and save his own life. Most directors would shut down production. Cameron just got back to work. The shoot broke everyone, but the final emotional straw came from actress Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio. She was filming her resuscitation scene. She is supposed to be screaming, crying, and pounding on Ed Harris's chest to bring him back to life. Take after take. For hours, Cameron pushes her. Harder! More! I need more emotion! Finally, in the middle of a brutal take, the camera runs out of film. It stops. Cameron yells, "Cut!" Mastrantonio, sobbing, her hands raw and red, just snaps. She screams, "We are not animals!" and storms off the set. She had a complete physical and emotional breakdown.
Please, you have to trust me.
Famously refused to talk about the shoot for decades. When asked about it in an interview, all she would say was, "I cannot discuss the abyss. I just can't talk about it." Chapter 4: The Legacy. So why did he do it? Was it worth it? Unlike the director of Come and See, who was chasing the truth of human trauma, James Cameron was chasing the truth of technology, of authenticity. He wanted to show audiences something they had never, ever seen before. And he did. Tucked inside this film is a 75-second sequence, the pseudopod, or water tentacle. It was the first time a character had been created entirely with CGI. It was the first soft-bodied digital character in film history. And he did. The film was a box office disappointment, but it pioneered the digital effects that would make Terminator 2 and Titanic possible. It changed cinema forever. That one 75-second scene, born from this watery hell, is the direct line ancestor to the T-1000 in Terminator 2. It's the ancestor to Jurassic Park. It's the ancestor to Avatar. But at the time, all that pain was for a flop. The film was a box office disappointment. But Cameron had won in the long run. He had pushed technology and human endurance to their absolute breaking point, and he had succeeded. He took the lessons, the technology, and the damn the torpedoes attitude of The Abyss and applied it to his next film, and the one after that. The crew's motto for the shoot was, "Life's abyss, and then you dive." James Cameron got his truth. He got the shot. The Abyss wasn't just a movie. It was a 7.5 million-gallon test lab. It was the blueprint that forged the rest of his career. He trapped his actors in a real-life hell, and in doing so, he built his own heaven.